I'm not sure what prices are like in the shops at the moment. The only place I really go to shop is the supermarket, so I have seen price rises in food, although I am still sticking to my yellow sticker and cashback app rules to keep the bills down. Um, I presume everything else has gone up, like clothing, furniture, all that sort of thing. I don't shop for any of those things. But as I said, last month I started to sell some things on eBay. I was just having a bit of a clear out really of clothes that I have owned for a long time, I haven't worn, I'm never going to wear again, and I just kind of packed them into one of those clothes storage things and put them under bed and forgot about them. And I decided now's a good time to try and make some more money and have a good clear out. I was in a really kind of like a spring clean mood last month, and I need to try and replace some of the income I'm losing from selling on Etsy because sales are very low at the moment. People just aren't spending any money. So I pulled out some of these clothes that were mine, and I've put them on eBay, and as I've reported before, they sold. And I was quite surprised because I've tried to sell on eBay before and failed basically, not been very impressed, but I've managed to sell a handful of the things that I put on there. So I think that particularly where clothing is concerned, people are turning to second hand where new is just too expensive now. So I've started pulling out a few more things. I've been putting items off of my Etsy that they're not the new things that I make. So they're not the garments that I design and make. It's not the jewellery, it's not the braided coasters that I do, or the other accessories. It's garments that already existed and I have altered, or it's garments that were vintage and older that will sit well within eBay. So I've pulled about 6 or 7 items off of my Etsy and I've loaded them up onto eBay. I haven't listed them yet because I'm away at the moment, so I don't have the things with me. So I've been spending the last couple of days putting all the information off of my other e-commerce site and adding everything to eBay, and about 8 days before I'm due to go home, I'm going to list them so that I've got catch-up time, so that hopefully when I get home I will have things sold that I can start to package up almost as soon as I get back. And I've also done it with I have a second Etsy shop which sells vintage tools and car parts and things like that. I set it up because my dad was having a big old clear out and had lots of vintage tools and bits and pieces that he'd inherited from his dad and had been sat in the garage in the shed for, well, it must be 25 years now. And he decided it's time to let some of this stuff go. So we actually started listing it back in 2020 and did really well because there were some really nice pieces. And so we did quite well between us out of that, much better than if we just sold it to a vintage tool seller. They'd offered a certain amount for the whole lot, and we've at least tripled the money that we've made by selling things individually. We weren't in any rush to sell it, we weren't in a rush for the money. I had the time to do it, so I was listing everything and doing it from home, taking everything home with me and doing it from there. So that worked out really well. There's a few things still left, and they're things that aren't as collectible, and as the economy has changed, those things haven't sold so well. But Etsy seems to be quite a dead site, and I've decided to pull off some of those things as well, and I'm going to list those on eBay and see how we get on with that. So I have quite a queue of things ready to list on eBay. I'm going to carry on with this. I am going to continue to have a clear out when I get home, because I'm sure I have all sorts of things that I can add. Every penny counts. It's not an amazing way to make money. So far I sold, I think it was 6 items, which came to a total of £58.50. The fees out for eBay came to £8.98, and the total postage out was £23.45. So off those 6 things I made a profit of £26.07, which isn't amazing, but don't forget that everything I was selling were things that I've had for many years, so I don't even know what that value is anymore, and some of them are also things that were found and gifted, so they hadn't cost me anything. So that £26.07 really is complete profit. There's no other cost involved in that. So it's not too bad, I guess, for 6 things. I have at least another 15 drafted ready to list. So potentially I could, in June, make another £60–70 in profit. We'll see how we get on. But it certainly seems to be more buoyant than it used to be, and I think that's because a lot of people have moved over from buying new to going for good second hand, and I don't blame them. And for people like me who are trying to make a living and having to seesaw a bit in where and what we sell to keep paying our bills, I'm going to take advantage of that. Why not?